Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. Today, I welcome Wayne to the show, where we're going to be talking about many things, mindset, but in particular, we're going to be talking about healing from a relationship. So, just a quick introduction to Wayne. Wayne is a singer, entertainer, photographer, fundraiser, and empath on a new journey of self-growth. So, Wayne, welcome to the show today. Good to get you on and have this conversation today.
Thank
Tell
you,
us a
Johnny.
little bit more if there's anything to add on what I've just said, and what actually gets you so passionate or interested about talking about healing from a relationship.
It's not just relationships, really. It's the whole package of I know there's a lot of people that are suffering from mental health issues from COVID and all just the general state of the world at the minute. People are struggling massively in all types of areas. So, and I do feel like I'm definitely an empath. I tend to attract people that need help. I'll get inboxes all the time saying, how have you gone from being depressed and drinking and not doing anything with your life to then suddenly being in the best mental state you've ever been in? And I'd find myself trying to explain from my point of view, because there's a lot of people that actually learnt these skills by going on a course, but I didn't have the money to do any of that. So it was all self researching, watching YouTube videos, speaking to people, listening to audio books, and it all seems to fit with the way I am. So I've gone from being, as I say, a year and a half ago, maybe I was drinking quite a lot, binge drinking mainly. I was not really in the best place mentally anyway. I was going from maybe drinking every night of the week, saying to myself, I've got to stop. I might stop for a week or 2 weeks, but then I'll be back on it. And I kept falling off the wagon, various reasons. And I just thought to myself, one day, I've got to stop doing this. I've got to put my life back on track. So I started researching, started watching YouTube and audio books. And here I am today. And I'm, as I say, the best physically I've been. I've lost a lot of weight. Mentally, I'm very positive. I'm very in touch with things like the universe and manifestation and that sort of thing. I'm a big believer in positivity breeds positivity. And yeah, regarding the breakup, I had a very painful breakup from somebody that I thought that was going to be part of my life and didn't work out. And again, 3 months of self-pity and struggling and not being in a good place. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still not in the, not fully healed or whatever, but it's getting there, and all the other things that have come with it, sobriety, which I never thought I'd stop drinking. But here I am, just gone past the 8 month mark.
Oh, brilliant.
I haven't touched the drop of alcohol. I don't intend to. I just completely. I think I sort of hypnotize myself to say that it's not good for you. We all know that alcohol, when it's abused, it's a drug. It doesn't do anything very good for your physical as well as your mental well-being. So yeah, I just feel like I always give myself a pat on the back, because I don't really believe that I've got as far as I can without any external help. I mean, there is a chap that he's a NLP practitioner, a life coach, a friend of mine, Matt Hall, who's also a life coach. He's doing very well. He helped me quite a lot way back at the start, but a lot of it has been done from my own onset, saying, right, I've got to change my life. I've got to do something about it. And I've made sure I've got up and done my 5K walk every day, and stopped eating bad food, stopped drinking. And yeah, it just seems that I know that being an empath is one of these things that where people think they are, but they don't necessarily find out that they are. But I seem to attract people all the time that want help, and I revel in helping people. I love helping people, whether it's advising someone about singing, to advising what books I've listened to. I just don't seem to stop wanting to help people, and it's just in my genes, I think. So it's all about. I think one day it'll just click in your mind, and once it's in your mind, that's it. You want to stop, but you won't stop until you've succeeded what you're doing. So it's all very what's the word? Just as how it's meant to be. It just fell in my lap, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. Well, thanks for sharing your story, Wayne, and very inspiring. And congratulations on all the action you've been taking, and in the sobriety, obviously for a number of months now. Was there a point that made you? You said you went through obviously some challenges, and yeah, really appreciate you sharing that. Was there a point? Because some people, don't get to that point of change, and then some people do. You see different stories from different people. Was there something that like clicked for you? Like, I've got to make a change. I've got to, stop drinking some of these bad habits. Was there a defining or kind of point for you that made that change?
yeah, I mean, I look back. I think probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was actually running a pub at the time, which was another mistake. Just something that when you were a bit of a drinker, and you've got drink there all the time, and you're with drinkers, it wasn't the best time to be running a pub. But there was a chap that used to come in. He was a singer. He was a lovely chap. I got to know him. He was a regular, and he was a proper drinker. And he used to be in a state, and he started getting to the point where he was jaundice. His liver was failing, and he'd been warned by his doctor 2 or 3 times in the space of 2 years. You've got to stop it. You're going to kill yourself. And the words "kill yourself" is sometimes overused. People don't take that as serious. They just think, "Oh yeah, it's not going to kill me. I'm okay. I've been drinking all these years," and they just tend to ignore it. And I just remember talking to him so many times and saying, "Listen, mate, you've got to stop drinking. It's not it's not lies. He's going to kill you. Your liver is telling you you've got jaundice. You're yellow. Your eyes are yellow. You've got to stop. It's going to kill you." And he's, "Yeah, I'll stop. I'll stop." And he'd stop for a couple.
Oh,
Germany's got like a cat behind him, and I'm saying, why are you drinking again? "Oh, it's not mine. It's my girlfriend's." And I'm like, "Come on, mate. You don't pull the wool over my eyes." And I always remember that he was back on it, saying I'll be okay. And then I had a phone call from his family to say that he'd been taken to hospital with liver failure again. And I'll never forget the feeling that I got there to see him. His family were all in the room, and the doctor said, "Sorry, are you family?" And I said, "No, I'm just a friend." And he said, "Oh, sorry, you can't come in." And all his family was going, "No, no, Keith wants him in there. He wants to come in." So I was sat around the bed, and I just remember the doctor um, basically telling himself and his family that that was it. They couldn't do anything for him. Um, he was basically there, and he wasn't leaving the hospital. And to see the faces of my friend and his family, seeing that, that final statement after everything, it just wasn't a nice thing to see. And I think he lasted a week, going to see him every day, and he finally fell asleep and never woke up. And that made me think, hang on a minute, I've never really been that far gone. But once you're on the slippery slope, you can get to the stage where you're in self denial and you don't realise that you're at that stage, which is obviously what he did. And I started thinking about my family. My mom and my dad are both worried about me. My brother was always messaging me saying he was worried about my drinking. It was affecting my social life. It was affecting my singing. My voice wasn't the best. And I always look back at that story of losing a friend after warning him, and my main thing is my daughter. Thinking do I want my daughter to be without a dad? Not really. And do I want my family to lose their son? Not really. And it just hit me that, like a ton of bricks. The one morning I woke up and I said, "This has got to change." And I said to myself in my head, "I'm going to change." And if I go back, if I slip up, I'm going to feel gutted. I'm going to be, you know, disappointed in myself. I'm going to let my family down. And I just got it in my head, my family, my daughter. I'm doing this for them, not just for me. And that was once that seed was in my head, that was it. You know, even going out and being tempted, going to the pub singing and somebody's got a free drink for me. And I just said no. And the longer it went on, the easier it was, surprisingly. You know, I got to 6 months and thought, wow, 6 months without drinking. I never, ever thought I'd get to this stage. But I'm now at 8 months and I can't ever see me drinking again. It's like I get offered it all the time. And I think there's no way I'm going through 8 months of effort to then be back to the beginning. It's just not happening. So it's once you get that mindset, once you get that little click in your head, you realise that you're doing it for the right reasons. Um, it's getting to that stage that's the issue. If people once they get to that stage, then you know that's where you need to be. It's just getting to that stage that's the difficult part.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah. I can see, your reasons why, this is driving, knowing someone and then thinking of others as well impacted on this. And like you say, noticing maybe potential slippery slope and not wanting to go down that path.
Yeah,
And now you've been like obviously consistent with it for like 8 months. One of the things I wanted to ask, and whether it's drinking or whether it's something else, we can all get into bad habits. Obviously, some habits, a lot worse for us than others. And I found from my own experience and other people that sometimes we can get into those bad habits, those quick fixes when perhaps emotionally things are really, really tough. And we have days when they're tough, whether that's like a relationship kind of challenge or breakup, or you're reminded about something, or, you receive some bad news. For you, when you go through like a tough time or a tough day or a tough week, is there something you have in place that stops you going back to perhaps drinking and then using drink to deal with it?
yeah. Again, it's been a lot of reading audio books. I'm not one that can sit and read a book. I get distracted quite easily, so that's why I stopped reading. But since I've discovered audio books, they're an absolute godsend. You know, I can have my Bluetooth on in the car if I'm driving to a gig 2 miles away. Unless I'm learning a song or whatever, I rarely listen to music anymore. I put these audio books on, and one of the things that I found uh, extremely useful, which I don't think enough people educate people with these audio books, and that's that you can still get, you can still get distracted listening to an audio book. But what I do is, I'm either in the car listening to it, or the best way to do it is to, at night when you're in bed, put my headphones on, lie in bed with the light off, with my headphones on, and I listen to the book. And then if you fall asleep, it's still going in. It does still go in your head even though you're asleep. And that's what happened when I managed to stop drinking. I listened to a book called Alcohol Lied to Me, which is by Craig Beck, and I've listened to it 3 or 4 times, and I've sent it to people. I've got a friend, Paige, in. Sorry, my camera just fell over.
Right.
um, yeah, I've got a friend called Paige who's in Spain. She's a singer, and she was saying that she wanted to quit drinking, and I persuaded her to buy this book. And she's now 7 months, I believe it is, into sobriety, and she's saying it's the best thing she ever did. So that's the secret behind it. But when I get in answer to your question, when I get the feeling of I'm having a bad time or I'm having a bad week, I'm a massive believer in manifestation and positivity. And I used to see people say, positivity breeds positivity, and negativity the same, the polar opposite. And I did find that it was the case. If you've got something, I'll give you a prime example. I've used this so many times when I'm trying to explain about staying positive. It's a bit of a weird scenario to tell you about, but it's the one that sticks out in my mind. A year and a half ago, maybe, I always remember I was in the kitchen, I was in a rush, and I was making a drink. One of the things I've done with my health kick, I've stopped drinking. I've stopped a lot of dairy. I don't eat bread, and I don't eat drink a lot of milk. I used to drink a lot of milk. Really, I don't really drink milk anymore. I have black coffee. But I was in a rush, and I was making a cup of coffee, and I pulled the fridge open, and as I pull uh, the milk out, put it in my drink, and when I went to put it back, I dropped it, and it went all over the floor, and I was already in a rush, and this milk was strewn all over the floor, and I was so angry. I was screaming at the top of my voice, really, really angry. Um, and I was there like mopping it up and cussing myself and thinking, what the hell? I don't need this now. I'm already in a rush. And it put me in a mood. And for the next half an hour in the car, I was cussing and I was just thinking about it over and over again. And then when I was doing this self healing and I was looking at things, and I always remember reading that if something happens and you dwell on it, what's the point? It's happened. You can't change it. So why make yourself feel bad for the next hour or 2 days or whatever it is? Just let it go. It's done. You can't do anything about it. So I got to this stage where in my mind, I've got like a little switch. And if something bad happens, straight away, this switch comes on. I remember that time that I dropped the milk, and I remember feeling angry, and I remember feeling in a bad place for an hour afterwards, and it was just such a waste of energy. So I thought, right, and it happened again about 2 months ago, exactly the same thing. And for a split second, I had the anger, and straight away, this little switch came on in my head. It's fine. It's only a bit of milk on the floor. It's going to take me a couple of minutes to wipe it up. It's not the end of it's not something major that's going to affect me. It's not going to affect anyone else. Just milk. So I got down and I wiped it up and carried on with my day, and I didn't even think about it. And it's that switch, it's that thing that's in my head that I know that if you dwell on negativity and you let things worry you that doesn't affect you anymore, what's the point? If you let it go, you feel great again straight away. So that's what I do. I don't know what it was that made me get to this stage. It was just a switch, just making myself realise that you can't dwell on things because it's just, life's too short to dwell on things. That's the main thing that I always think back to.
Love it. Thanks, Wayne, for like sharing that, because I know a lot of us go through some challenges. It's easy to go into some of the bad habits.
Yeah.
Just wanted to just touch on a couple more things, really. Like talking about, lots of people find it hard, and myself included, when sort of like that relationship's not like worked out, and it can sort of impact us emotionally for a bit. And like you said, it's something, sort of a process you still sort of work for a little bit. Is there anything that you've used to help you through that process, or is it kind of a little bit, maybe some of the stuff you said already? Just would really like to hear your input on that, because I know it's a challenge a lot of us are challenged with.
Yeah. I think you just get to the stage where you have to accept that that life is planned out for you, and I believe that if you're open minded and you believe in things like the universe. I mean, I've got friends that sort of take the mickey a little bit when you start talking about
Yeah.
things like synchronicity and universe. And way back, I used to think, oh, yeah, I'm not sure about that. But when you start experiencing these things, then you do believe in it, and it does work. And you've got to believe to yourself that if something doesn't work out, then it's not meant to be, or at that particular time, it doesn't necessarily mean something might not change for the future, but at that particular moment in time, or that part of your life, that the path that you're on, it's not meant to be. And I've looked at jobs recently that where I'm all for it, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this is going to be great. But then I'll sit back and I'll let the universe take over, and something happens, and it makes me not be able to go for that job or be able to do that thing. And I believe it's the universe that's making that happen. It's not me making an informed decision. It's me letting the universe decide which path I go on. I'm a massive believer in it, and like to the point where then you can see my hand, 11-11. You probably know about things like that. The synchronicity and being in tune with things. I've been seeing 11-11 for 15 years, and it used to freak me out that I'd see these things and thinking, what the hell am I seeing? And when you look into it, when you Google it and you look at the ramifications of being in tune with things, that's what it is. And that's why I felt compelled to get it on a tattoo, because it's part of my life. It's part of who I am, and it's part of the way I live my life now. I let things flow. I let things, if things are meant to happen, they will happen. And if they're not meant to happen, then they won't. Simple as that. That's the way I look at situations nowadays.
I love it, Wayne. The acceptance and kind of going with that flow of life rather than fighting it. So just to sort of like wrap up really today, I know we could talk for a while, and I know you inspire. Yeah, we could. You got so much to share, and I really enjoyed our conversation. But I know obviously you've inspired quite a lot of people online, and they've been following your journey as well. So really, just to wrap up, is there maybe a final point that perhaps you'd like to share with us? And where can the listener find you if they want to find out a little bit more about you?
Well, as I said before, we came on the live video that I think my calling. I'm doing all these different things. I've been a singer. I do a lot of promotional work for singers. I do signs and promo for singers and bands and stuff. And every day I think my calling is to be some sort of a life coach, or to help people in some way. And I'm still on that journey trying to find out what it is I'm supposed to be doing. As I say, I'd love to do podcasts the same as you do. It's something I might look into in the future. But as it stands at the minute, with this type of thing, I'm very new to it. I'm very new to talking on a video. I'm very new to thinking of ways to help people, and it is something that I'm going to look into. I'm not going to let it slip. It's when I've got the chance, I'm going to look into doing it. But the only thing I've got really is my Facebook, which is Wayne J Swifty. I put a lot of every morning. I'll put a positive meme up for people to. I get the same old people say, "Morning, Wayne. Have a great day." And I've got very lucky to have 5,500 followers on my Facebook. So I'd like to utilise all those people somehow. I don't know how to do it yet, but that's really the main place people can find me. I am on Instagram, but again, I'm not really growing that enough to make it useful. But if people just watch this space, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but at some stage, I'd like to be role reversed, and I'm in your position, and I'm doing these for other people. That would be a bit of a good thing to look forward to if that can happen. I'm sure it will at some point.
Awesome. I'm sure it will as well. And thank you so much for coming on today, Wayne, and sharing.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's been really good to speak to you. It's been great to hopefully inspire people, and it's given me a bit of a kick to try and get something sorted. So, as I say, watch this space. We'll see what happens.
Awesome, Wayne. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.